Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today in this video, I am going to be doing the Finally Fall book tag. This is a very popular tag on booktube that's been around for years and years. I could not find the original tag. I don't know who created this. Maybe they deleted their channel, so I don't know who the original creator of this tag is. If any of you out there do know and they still have a channel, let me know and I will credit them properly. So this is a tried and true classic book tag that I personally have never done before, with some bookish questions inspired by the fall season. I thought this would be a fun video to do for this time of year, even if, as someone who lives in Florida, fall to me is just like a slightly less hot summer. But let's dive into the tag. The first question. In fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. For this question, I decided to choose The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is a standalone fantasy novel, though I believe a companion novel is coming out set in the same universe. The reason why I picked this book for vivid setting is because I think the world in this book is really creative and very extensive. This book takes place in multiple fantasy kingdoms. One of the kingdoms is more so inspired by Europe and the Western world, and the other is a more so Eastern Asian inspired country. And it's really interesting to me how both of these worlds have their own history and culture and their own different belief systems, especially with regards to the dragons that exist in this world. I felt like so much time and care went into creating this very detailed fantasy world, so that's why I picked this book for vivid setting. Next question. Nature is beautiful, but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. No question, the book that I picked for this one is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This book is so beautifully written and also so heart-wrenching and sad. This is a historical fiction book that deals with the death of Hamnet Shakespeare, the son of William Shakespeare and his wife Agnes. I think the way that this book depicts loss and the hole that a death can leave behind in a family is so fully realized and painful. Your heart really just goes out for these characters. And at the same time, the prose is extremely well written and well done. So I think this is a perfect answer for this question. I am so excited to read The Marriage Portrait, Maggie O'Farrell's next book, because I loved this one so much. I just want to read another novel from her. Fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. I really like reading nonfiction books, especially ones that deal with history, and pretty much every nonfiction book I read does teach me something new. So there was no shortage of books I could have picked for this question, so I just decided to go with one that I had on hand on my bookshelf. So I chose The Lady Queen, The Notorious Reign of Joanna I, Queen of Naples, Jerusalem, and Sicily, by Nancy Goldstone. I learned a lot about Joanna from reading this book. She was a historical figure I knew nothing about before I picked up this book, despite the fact that she ruled multiple kingdoms. This was a really interesting read, and I think the way that it's written is very accessible. It's not dense like nonfiction books sometimes can be. I would definitely encourage you to read this book if you're interested in royalty, medieval court politics. If you love Game of Thrones, this book might be a good historical nonfiction for you because it deals with a powerful woman and a lot of intrigue, including a few suspicious deaths. So, all in all, an entertaining and educational nonfiction read. Question 4. In order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people we love. Name a fictional family slash household slash friend group that you'd like to be a part of. I'm going with the nostalgia pick for this one. I'm going to say the March family from Little Women. This is one of my childhood favorites, and it has a very special place in my heart. The March family, which includes 4 sisters, does not have a lot of money, but they are very supportive and loving towards one another, which is why I think they would be a good answer to this question. This book just gives me all the warm and fuzzy feelings, so I think if I had to join a fictional family, this family would not be a bad choice. Next question. The colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. Well, when I think about fall-colored, I think about red, orange, dark yellow, brown. I actually feel like several of the books that I already held up kind of have that fall color scheme going on, so give me 1 second to find some spines. So this is quite heavy, but gold, orange, red, a little brown, some flowers on this one. Oh God. It's very heavy, but hopefully that looks nice and autumnal. Maybe I need to take a Bookstagram picture of this stack. I think I need to put it down though, because it's starting to hurt my wrist. Next question. Fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. So I'm actually going to hold up the sequel because I currently have that out from the library and I don't own the first book. But I'm going to say Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. I absolutely loved this book. It was a 4.5-star read for me. This is a murder mystery that follows an editor who is trying to solve the murder of an author, and at the same time there's also a book within a book where you get to read the manuscript the author had just finished before his death. So maybe it's not technically someone telling a story, but it has a story within the story. I absolutely loved this mystery, and I think the reason I loved it so much is you can tell Anthony Horowitz has a real passion for mysteries, and as someone who also loves mysteries, I just loved that. You could see his passion really coming through in the book. So if you are a die-hard mystery lover, I definitely think Magpie Murders is a good book to pick up. Next question. The nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. Now, when you say dark and creepy, I think about horror, and I am not a horror reader. So I figured I would just share a mystery that is a little creepier and a little bit supernatural. So I am going to discuss The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. This is a historical murder mystery set on a ship in, I believe, the 1600s, and mysterious things start happening on this ship. The passengers believe they might be being tormented by a demon known as Old Tom. So the whole mystery of this book is trying to figure out what's really going on this ship, and is it actually a demon that is doing this to all of them, or is it actually more based in reality? I think the threat of Old Tom and the question of whether this is supernatural or not really does give this mystery this dark and creepy vibe. It has a little bit of a supernatural gothic feel. So if you are looking for those vibes and you are a mystery lover, this could be a good book for you. I think it would make a great October read. Next question. The days are getting colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. I do not read a lot of books that are short or heartwarming, so this is a little tricky for me once again. I am kind of bending the definition of heartwarming, but I figured I would just share a short book that I read in the past couple years that I actually really enjoyed, and it's a children's classic Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I read this for a class I took in college on the history of children's literature, and I enjoyed this book much more than I thought I would. I'm sure most of you have probably seen one of the film adaptations of this, and it follows a young boy who, along with several other children, wins the opportunity to visit Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. I would not describe this book as heartwarming because when you read it as an adult, it's actually a little bit sinister. But I don't really have any heartwarming reads to recommend, so I'm stretching the definition there a little bit and recommending you a children's classic. I think it'll be easy to read, and if you are into middle grade or have maybe been interested in reading this book and you haven't read it yet, I will say it was better than I thought it would be, and I enjoyed it. Fall returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this question because I actually just made a video on books that I want to reread, so you can go check that out to hear about lots of different books that I'm hoping to revisit in the near future. If I had to pick just one to use for this question, I'm going to say Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte because this is one of my all-time favorite books. However, I've only read it once. So I would really like to read this book again in the near future. I love this book because I love the character of Jane and her inner strength. She really survives a lot of terrible circumstances, and I think there is this inner strength and determination in her. I like that she is a woman who sticks to her principles, and I think the reason I love this book so much is because I love her as a main character. Then the last question is to show off some of your favorite cozy reading accessories. Personally, I think on a cozy reading night you have to have a candle. This is the one that I am currently finishing up. It is a vanilla scent from Yankee Candle. The other thing I think you have to have is fuzzy socks, and I have a lot of fuzzy socks. I have these ones with the X's and O's. These ones my mom got for me have my cat's faces on them. Yeah. And I will just show you one other. They say, if you can read this, bring me a glass of wine. And hey, wine will enhance any cozy reading night, won't it? Just at home with your socks, your candle, your glass of wine. What more could you want? So everyone, that is it for the Finally Fall book tag. I am not going to tag anyone because I'm sure most people have done this already, but if you're watching and you want to do this tag, feel free to say that I tagged you. If you do decide to film this video, let me know in the comments so I can go check out your answers. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a cozy rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you next time.